Welcome to our very first episode of Love Letters Live, the podcast where we, three girls in our 20s, sit down with married women to hear about how they found their love stories. I'm Annie, here with Kate and Elizabeth, and today we have a special guest, Demi, who not only happens to be my friend and my talented hairdresser, but she has an inspiring love story of her own. Demi and her husband Yaz met at the most unexpected place, a Harris Teeter grocery store. I'm so excited to have you because you've been doing my hair since I was 16 years old. I'm 22 now. You got me ready for prom. You've been here for all my big milestones. So I'm excited to hear you and talk about, I'm usually the one yapping in your chair. So to have you and roles are reversed today. So I'm so excited.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, honestly, and I'm honored to be your first guest.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm so excited. And it was been such a rainy day. So it's such a fun podcasting day. Did you have a good day? What did you
my
do?
gosh, it is. Oh my gosh, what did I do? I got up this morning and walked my dogs, which I have a backyard now, so I don't even have to do. So that was a great way to start my day. Had some coffee with Yaz and got some stuff done since it was my day off.
Wait, was it raining where you are?
It was raining this morning and sunny this afternoon. The weather is so bipolar. It cannot make up its mind. It was warm this afternoon. It got cold out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God, I need to go inside now. I don't like this.
No, right. Because it was monsooning here in High Point.
Yeah.
I was drenched. I was literally wringing out my socks with the rain
wind was insane.
Insane. Yeah, no, so that's so fun, though. And I'm so thankful that you're our first guest. So maybe let's get into it. So, Demi, obviously, I know a little bit about it. You met Yaz at Harris Teeter, but how did you and Yaz officially meet?
So we actually met working together. We started working together in 2018, and I don't think we looked in each other's directions for the longest time. And because we were both in relationships, actually. So we were not looking for anything. And coincidentally, both of our relationships kind of fizzled out around the same time. And I think we just kind of progressively would kind of flirt here and there. And there was a slight interest. And one day it was I think right before St. Patty's Day, I saw him leave. And we worked together. I don't know if I made that clear or not. So just to state that we were working together. And he left one Saturday night and he was always there. So I couldn't understand why he was leaving on a Saturday night and why I was still working. But he left with 2 12-packs of Guinness. And I was like, I need to know where this man is going. And
I love
and I texted him the following day and I was like, wow, well, work sucked today. Where were you? And he was like, well, do you want to talk about it over dinner tomorrow night? And we went on our first date on March 18th of 2019.
Oh my gosh, so almost 6 years, if I'm doing my math
yeah,
right.
So
6 years.
Yeah, we're all coming up on it, honestly. Yeah, creeping up.
I love that you know the exact date.
I know. It's so, I only know it because it was the day after St. Patty's Day. So we have to find an Irish pub somewhere every place we go.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yes.
And I love
how
upfront he was. He was just to the point, I'm taking you to dinner. Was that more?
Oh, yeah.
When you realized that you were okay, I like this guy? Or were there always a little bit of feelings?
Honestly, I think I had to do a little bit of convincing at first, but I was like, I think I would be stupid if I didn't give this guy a shot. It was the charisma and everything else. And he was such a hard worker. And I think I just always noticed his ability to go above and beyond for other people and try to put a smile on other people's face. And I felt like that was kind of how I was. And so I think we ended up just kind of I guess attracting the other. And that was kind of how it all started.
How long were you guys going on dates before it was became official?
I think we dated for probably almost a month or two before he asked me to be his girlfriend. And he asked me when we were actually out on the lake one day. And that's also where he told me that he loved me the first time.
Aww. Wait, which lake?
I
Marvin or Wiley?
Lake Wiley, that's where so he has a boat, and so we would go out almost every weekend, and we were actually in a secret relationship, so nobody knew we were dating because we worked together.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, so I was gonna ask that, like, did you keep
Yes.
it undercover at work and then, like, it
Yes.
found out?
Quite literally, yes. So we started dating in March, and I think we went live in October after he got transferred to another store. And then we continued dating, and then I graduated around that time. And then we also went on a few trips that year together. And I think that's where we got really close because we did Colorado in August of 2019, and then we did New York in November. And they were really short trips. They were like 3-4 days a piece, but they were kind of really great just to get to know each other. And our families didn't know we were dating for probably the 6-month span that we were secretly dating at the store. We just didn't want anyone finding out. I didn't want to risk him losing his job or anything because I knew it was just a part-time gig for me. So I didn't really care one way or another, but I was like, I don't want to ruin anyone's career.
Yes, that's very important.
So, Demi,
Yes.
I got a question for you. How long did you
Yeah.
and Yaz date before y'all got engaged? Before the proposal?
Okay. So we started dating in March of 2019, and then he actually proposed to me New Year's Eve. It was during COVID. It was the first New Year's Eve after COVID. So I'm trying to think if that's 2020 going into 2021, I believe.
Yeah, because you were doing my hair when you got engaged, I remember. So it was 2020
Yeah.
or 2021 because I remember it happening.
Yeah. And I think it was actually, I think it was literally, so it's weird because it was kind of in both. I got engaged on December 31st, 2020, and then it literally was, 2021 the next day. So I guess that would have put us at, I guess just shy of 2 years. And then we had a really long engagement.
Yes, I remember that.
How long was that engagement?
We didn't get married until August of 2023. So that would have been, from, I guess, the very beginning of 2021. So yeah, about 2.5, a little bit over 2.5 years of being engaged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had so our dating time was actually shorter than our engagement period, which is so funny because I know that's not like that for a lot of people, but he was sure of me and that's what he told me.
Oh, and then how did you know you were sure of him?
Oh, that's a great question. Honestly, I think it really had a lot to do with his character for one and for how he treated his family and his mother for two.
Oh, that's so important, like the mother relationship.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of people have really tough relationships with their parents and not that his hasn't been, but it was just like the level of like respect that he holds with them and everything else. Like it's very admirable and he always tries to do his best to take care of everyone before himself. And so like I knew he would be, a good dad in the future and everything else. And that was of course thinking way ahead at the time. But we were kind of on the same timeline as far as everything went. So it kind of seemed like everything ended up lining up for us. And so that was pretty cool.
Going back to work, when people did find out, did you guys get a lot of criticism? And do you think that like brought like tough times into your relationship? And like, how did you get through that?
Yeah, so I definitely since he got transferred, he did not get any of that, but I did have some managers that acted slightly weird towards me and just would make kind of, slight remarks and I was able to turn my head in the other direction for the most part, but there were certain comments that were definitely made that were below the belt and less than appreciated and I definitely gave them, their fair share in return. Because, excuse me, no, sir, don't be rude.
Yeah, we don't like rude people.
No, I'm like, no. And also mind your business because I'm not doing anything that's harming anyone else. I'm just out here falling in love and you're mad about it.
No, yeah, that's
They're
what
just
everyone
salty.
wants at the end of the day. So,
I'm like, don't be jealous.
yes. And then your wedding also, you had a smaller wedding, didn't you?
We did. Yeah, we eloped actually.
Yes, it was somewhere tropical.
Yes, we eloped in Barbados. So that was probably one of the best decisions that we've made because we are such people pleasers, which has, obviously attracted us to each other. It's definitely has its hardships. And I think that was a really big decision for us. And it definitely came with a lot of like, not stress and strife, but definitely like lots of long, hard conversations with our families and everybody else, just trying to get people on board and trying to get them to understand because both of our families were kind of pushing us into religious ceremonies that neither one of us were super interested in. And it just wasn't our way. And we respected that it was their way. But, all we asked for in return was them to respect that that was not our way.
So did your family know that you were eloping, or is that something that was just y'all went and just did and then came back and said, "Oh, I'm married"?
So they did know, yes. Yeah, they knew that we were going, and people did have the Zoom link. We actually sent it out the day of because we kind of had this idea of it was a last minute idea for one, but also for two. It ended up being really the people who wanted to be there were there.
So you did have people there?
Through Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was the only audience that we had. And I think there were probably 12 people on there, maybe.
But so just there, it was just you two?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
it was
not
just
familiar.
the two of us.
I've just never heard of anyone that's eloped, so I'm just like not very familiar with.
Oh,
what
yeah.
it's
No,
like.
100%. Ask as many questions as you'd like.
Yeah, I know it's like you
Yeah.
go off and like get married, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
So like tell me what that was. What did that look like?
So I was looking online and trying to find wedding packages that I could, I guess that were within the budget, but also were nice packages. And I found this place in Barbados, and we actually had our timeshare at the time. We were able to go there as part of that, and so we used our points for the stay there. And then I found this really great wedding package. And I think their gold package ended up being like $1,300. And it included like the floral arch and the bouquet and basically, all the wedding paperwork and this, that, and the third. And it took care of all of the, I guess, all of the legal documents and other stuff. So I didn't have to worry about that because I pretty much had two ladies that helped me plan everything. And they even helped me put my dress on because trying to button a wedding dress is not easy by yourself. So that was my biggest concern with eloping was how am I going to get my dress buttoned without Yaz seeing me?
Yeah.
That was the most stressful thing I went through for my wedding. So like, I am so happy.
That's a good thing.
Like, I mean, I was at the pool that morning.
That sounds perfect.
Honestly, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
I had nobody yelling at me. I had
Yeah.
nobody telling me that food was going to be late. Nothing. Like, I mean, there was not a single stressful thing. And we had like, I think 12 days in the most beautiful place. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to go back. It was the best 12 days of my life.
Oh, that sounds great and relaxing.
Yeah. I had no idea.
So we did so we did our honeymoon with the elopement. So I mean, there are people who do elopements on much smaller scales than that and like don't go, across the ocean. But for us, we were like, why not combine a beautiful tropical vacation and get married all in one?
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And I think like it shows the stress. You have no one like bossing you guys around and you can really focus on the love that you have for one another, which is great.
Yeah, and that's really been our biggest focus since being together is like, really just making sure that we are doing everything for the right reasons. Cause like neither one of us cared about the big party. We were just like, we just want to be married.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
And you said it was like Zoom recorded. Was there someone like standing there or was it just like a setup?
So actually we had, I think it was one of the wedding planners that had helped me, the coordinators, I think was the one that was recording it. And then we had a photographer and actually so funny, Yaz and I, after both opening our own businesses, I think I opened mine before, but just crazy life with business ownership. We actually just submitted our wedding photos this morning. So we're going to be getting those back finally.
That's so
And I can't
fun.
wait to see them.
No, that's so fun. And that shows, like, I think that's also really impressive, like, how you guys, like, balance time, like, with two businesses. And that's really fun. So, like, do you think, not to be negative, but do you think those two businesses have, like, made you guys have tough times? And, like, how did you get through those tough
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think for one, it's really important just to communicate about how you feel. If you don't talk, then nobody's going to know. That's my biggest thing. And I know that, women are really a lot about feelings and men are more action activity. So it's also trying to figure out the balance between the two, because if you're talking too much about feelings, then they can kind of shut down sometimes. But if you're not doing something to kind of keep them active and like stimulated in the brain region, they they get lost, So I think it's also to figuring out what works for each individual couple, and then really just being able to have like a difficult conversation, because they suck. They're not fun. Nobody wants to have them. But if you don't have them, then things just fall apart and nothing's ever going to get solved. And you're just going to continue to brush a bunch of things under the rug that are never going to get dealt with.
I agree. And, like, I remember last week when I was getting my hair done, you were saying that you use a wheel, and I thought that was so fun. I told Kate and Elizabeth about it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
she has an emotions wheel. And I was like, I love that idea.
Yes. So he actually did a men's workshop one day. He owns a business here in Charlotte and Plaza Midwood, and we're hosting a workshop, and the guy was like, you should join. And so he did. And I was actually really proud of him because it was kind of out of his comfort zone. But it's basically like, it's this wheel, and I'll look to see what it's called. I'm not 100% sure, and I'll text Annie over the name so that you'll know. And it basically will have like basic emotions around the outside, and then they get more specific, and they all are kind of categorized together. So you'll have anxiety and fear, and then maybe like excitement and a synonym to excitement together as well. And so that way you're kind of able to narrow down how you feel until it gets to a very specific place in the middle. And you kind of have to sit there and really think. So that way, whenever him and I have kind of started to get into really emotional places, we're able to kind of pull the wheel out and go like, okay, how do we both feel? And when you tell somebody how you feel and you're not like trying to accuse them of anything or pointing fingers or telling them what they're doing wrong, typically people tend to be more open with that than you suck, you're wrong. All this is, screwed up. Like, it's like nobody's responding well to that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I love that y'all use a wheel, but I know sometimes it can be hard to introduce a topic like that. So how did you, I guess, get the okay, like, this is going to work for us?
Honestly, I mean, for that, I think it's been a lot of trial and error and dealing with a lot of things that don't work. So I think it's really more or less about not getting down on yourself when something doesn't work. It's just like, okay, let's move on to the next to see what does work.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Okay, it does. And so, kind of like it's gone so fast, like going towards the end of the episode, we want to do a lot of advice for hopeless romantics, and that there's like hope and
that's
love
super
out
fun.
there. So, what do you believe is the key to maintaining a strong and lasting relationship, especially during those tough times?
Oh God, having fun together and joking. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it's like you can't joke all the time, but you have to joke. Joke a lot, but not always is what I say.
Ooh, I
Like
that.
nobody wants to be with, joke a lot, but not always.
I like that.
I'm going to have to remember that.
Yes, we'll quote that.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, it's important to be best friends and to listen and not judge, because everybody needs somebody that's in their corner. And I think too, a big thing is like not making each other look crazy in public is a big thing as well. Like maintaining that level of respect, and then like figuring things out behind closed doors. And that doesn't mean not to like share things with people, but it's like just make sure you're sharing the information you want to with the right people.
Yes, and like knowing who to trust. And
Yes, and that's very important because you never know who's waiting for things to fall apart. And if you have a strong relationship, then that should never be a concern. However, it's just like, you kind of do in a way have to have your guard up because you never know fully with everyone what their intentions are. But if you have a gut instinct about somebody, trust it. That's what I always say. I just keep those people at arm's distance and keep it moving.
That's so true.
And like, I think it's important to like go with your gut, and like if you like them, that's really all what matters, and people will grow to like
100%.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then last question. For those feeling hopeless about finding love, what advice would you give?
I would say keep your head up for sure. It's coming, but it's also probably going to hit you in the face when you're least expecting it.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
It is so true. I mean, if somebody told me I was going to meet my husband working with him at Harris Teeter and he was going to be my manager, I would have laughed in their face. I would have been like, you're kidding me.
It's true.
Like, no, like I was not looking for that. I was like happy single. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm living my best life. And then I was in a relationship. Now I'm married and I'm like, whoa.
That's the best.
But I love it. And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. But I'm like, holy shit, how did I end up here? But I love it here.
That's life.
That's awesome.
I'm still patiently waiting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it is coming. It is coming. And and everybody's on a different timeline too. So I also think it's important to know that like just because that's where someone is doesn't mean that's where you are, because nothing is linear. And, a lot of times, when people get married really young, it doesn't always last till the end. And sometimes it does. And those are, the anomalies. So it's like everybody is unique in their own path. And like, you never know. You can't compare apples to oranges because you never know if that person next to you really does have it better or not.
Exactly. Like you never really know what someone's story is.
You never know how good things are behind closed doors either.
Right.
So, and sometimes I find that people that put the prettiest personas out there can have the most skeletons in their closet. So,
oh yeah.
I love how you just worded that. Like
that was
I
poetic.
That was great.
You're so good with your words.
Oh, I talk a lot at work.
We're yappers.
I'm gonna come get my hair
a professional yapper.
I haven't need a therapist.
Yes.
Therapist.
Yeah, it's therapy. I had so much fun on the podcast.
Yes.
You guys were wonderful.
Thank you for doing it.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh, anytime.
Great first guest. Thank you so much.
You're our guinea pig.
Oh my gosh. Look, usually other people are my guinea pigs, so I'm happy to be somebody else's.
I know, it's so fun. Anyway.
And where can people find you on socials? Like, what is your Instagram?
Oh, yes. I am visionhairstudio.clt, like Charlotte, on Instagram, and Demi Pistolas on TikTok.
Perfect. Everyone go follow her.
And get your hair done.
Yes, go get your hair done.
Does it all.
And get some therapy.
Yes.
Yes, the therapy, relationship advice, all of the above.
Okay, well, thank you again, Demi, for joining us. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to our first episode. We can't wait to share more love stories with you, and stay tuned for next week.
Delivered on your